to our April episode of Silver Linings Talk Show. April is Stress Awareness Month. Oh my goodness. Feel it? Do you feel it?
And obviously, stress impacts everyone, including young people. And today, for our show today, we have our guest, Wendy Ladd, who is the Assistant Director of S.T.E.P.S. And I'm so excited, Wendy, that you're here, and I'm so excited to learn and to share with our viewers about S.T.E.P.S. because S.T.E.P.S. is doing like amazing things.
Yeah.
So the first thing, Wendy, is just any information that you have just regarding stress. Like, what are you guys seeing, or what are the statistics kind of showing with stress?
Absolutely. You know, our teen girls in particular are feeling the isolation from the COVID pandemic. We're still healing from that. What's happened is that there was so much stress over that time where parents were losing jobs and the families were struggling. We saw young women were no longer getting meals because of the food that they had was in the schools, right? Where they would have breakfast and lunch in the schools. So what happened is that young women became an easy target during the pandemic. And there was a 15% increase in sexual violence against young women and sexual abuse. And it's really devastated what was already a devastated population. So we are working with at-risk youth to bring them back from this stressful time.
And it's not even those who may have experienced any abuse, but it's also those that households have been struggling. Maybe they're not in the most predominant areas, and they need some extra support and some lifting up from women like you.
Yes, thank you. I'm so grateful to be in that role. Beatrice Jeanette started S.T.E.P.S. in 2008. So we've been around since 2016. She's an amazing role model, and she works very hard to make sure that the young women in the Groton, New London, and Norwich school systems, and we've expanded to Plainfield, get what they need in regard to mentorship and support for the whole girl.
Can you explain to us, just so, we're talking about S.T.E.P.S. What does that acronym stand for?
Thank you, Lynn. That stands for Striving Toward Empowered Personal Success. And what we do is we supply the tools necessary for young women to lift themselves out of obstacles, etc., that they experience in their everyday lives. So many young women don't have what they need in order to move forward. And they need positive role models more than anything in order to have them understand that, their circumstances do not have to be their future.
Yes, I love
So,
that.
seeing you in that role, how did you get to that role? Because I think that's really important to start with before we really delve into, how you are impacting this organization.
I actually am so grateful to be in this role. Thank you. It's something that I've always wanted to do, always wanted to be of service, truly of service to my community. So I have a master's in business. I have been in retail in a family business, a wonderful family business for 30 years. And I went to an eWomen meeting, and COVID had hit, right? And things were topsy-turvy. And I went to an eWomen meeting, and at that eWomen meeting, the way the universe works, Beatrice was speaking. We had just given her a $6,000 grant. And she was speaking and letting us know what S.T.E.P.S. is about, etc. And when she was speaking, I heard her say, "And I'm looking for help." And I really think that I was the only person who heard that during that meeting. And I contacted her, and I thought, with my business background, even though it's a nonprofit, with my business background, I could bring to them my business mind and help them expand and grow and become the organization that she's working so hard to become, and doing a fabulous job at it. So, you know, the way the universe works put me in the right place at the right time. And now I'm doing it as my retirement job. It's a part-time position. And I really love it. I really love my work.
That's awesome. I mean, you can just feel the emotion as you talk about it. It almost brings tears. Like, I was the only one who, I think, heard her. And that's because it aligned for what you were searching for in your own life. So that was just beautiful that, like you said, the universe kind of created that opportunity for you and created this beautiful connection, and now a part of this amazing nonprofit. So let's dive in more about S.T.E.P.S and all that you guys are doing in the communities that you serve. Let's start with, certainly, there are many different programs.
Yes, there are.
Can you talk about some of the programs that S.T.E.P.S is involved in?
Sure. Our 6th through 8th grade program starts with, it starts with Project for Success. And we focus on, 6th through 8th graders are different than 9 through 12. So we make sure that we separate the two groups. Sure. So our first program starts with 6th and 8th graders. And so thinking, it's like 10 years old. We started like 10 years old. That's our goal, is to be able to get the young women young enough so that they're still forming their own sense of self. We can help them with that. So Project for Success focuses around self-esteem. It's all about self-esteem and having young girls understand that, you know what, their lives are what they choose, not what anyone else decides for them. And they've never heard that before, right? This is new. This is new information. So on top of the lessons that we always center around the whole girl. So I'll just quickly show this. This is our wellness wheel. And what makes us unique is we center around the whole girl, so that in all of our programs, we center around social and emotional. Social and emotional is very important, especially right now with the mental health and wellness crisis happening in our youth today. I just want to be able to look at it too. The financial piece, you know what, we talk about money. We talk about what it takes, to be able to save money. How does money impact our lives, et cetera. Things that young women really don't talk about. Academic and career, of course. What's open to them? If you want to go to college, how do you get there? If you don't want to go to college, what are other opportunities, which there are plenty of in Eastern Connecticut? And how do you do that? Let's dream. We bring in, for our Projects for Success, we bring in young women themselves in their 30s who've made their own lives what they are. You both know Rhea Patterson.
Yes.
And Chanel.
We had Rhea on the show.
Right? They should be. They should be.
We had her.
Yes, they're amazing. And they come and speak to the girls. And they don't talk about just what they do, but they talk about their journey, how they got there, what obstacles they faced. It's been an amazing thing. So that's Project for Success.
That's great.
Then we have Ready for the World, which is our 9th through 12th, and in that program we focus even more on college and career, and even more on how do you get to where you're going. We bring in, this past year at NFA in particular, we brought in, we did yoga workshops. We did workshops on vision boards and how do you see your life, in 5 years from now. And it's just been a wonderful experience. So those are the programs, the after-school empowerment workshops that are in the schools. Outside of that, we have an intensive summer leadership program, of which we bring in all kinds of people and all kinds of experiences. And we focused 1 year on STEM. And Jason came in and brought his drones in, and it was amazing. It was a highlight of our program. And this past year, though, we have focused on mental health and wellness. And again, bringing in people who can help young women, talk about, just to be able to be free enough to talk about what's going on in their lives. They don't have that.
I think that's so important, because I think even as the women we are now, we have learned, and it's taken us a while to know that we can talk about it and that a lot of people are going through this. So to learn at a younger age that they can have these tools to get through and that it's okay to struggle and that they can get over these obstacles is just brilliant to be teaching them at such a young age.
And they have to be taught at such a young age because our world is struggling.
Yes.
And our children are struggling.
Yes.
And if we don't do this work, you know, it's scary. It's even within this work, it's scary. We just came off a fabulous Young Women's Leadership Day,
that's right.
which happened this past Saturday. And it was amazing. We had 55 young women.
Nice.
We bussed them in because we find that on top of the systemic barriers that they face, transportation is a huge systemic barrier. And if we can't go and get the girls and bring them to us, they can't get to the programs. The after school program, they're in the school, so that's easy enough. But anything outside of that, more intensive programs, the summer programs, we'll provide a bus. So we'll go into the poorest areas of Norwich, New London, and Groton, and pick kids up. We'll have hubs, right? Of which, and I love that part of my job because I get to be the one who contacts all the kids and, you know, texts them and say, oh, we're going to be there to pick you up, and thank you, Miss Wendy. You know, I mean, they're so appreciative, so appreciative. So in this last, in the Young Women's Leadership Day, we had self-defense, we had yoga, we had leadership training. We also had the art of improv, the art of conversation, telling your story.
Yes.
You know, things that these young women otherwise would never experience.
Right. So one thing that you guys are definitely bringing to all of these young women are exposure to new things. You had talked about innovations. You have talked about tools and just providing new experiences, which I think is so vitally important because for anyone, if we don't have the experience, we don't know that it's available to us. We don't know that we're capable. We don't know if it's a strength of ours. We don't know if it's an interest of ours. So I think it's wonderful that S.T.E.P.S is creating so many programs and opportunities really for young women to have all these new experiences, because this in itself, what you guys are doing right now, can be life-changing. You could be changing young women's lives.
And we are.
That like brings tears to my eyes.
Right? It's important. Thank you.
Yes.
And you know, and honestly, I just want to say this, you know, what the two of you are doing here is changing women's lives as well. So the whole idea behind Silver Linings, you know, we're doing it with the kids, but you're doing it with us, right?
Oh,
and how
that's sweet.
beautiful is that? So it's an incredible experience and so very important. But it is the community that supports us. You know, that's so important as well.
Yeah.
The community who supports us. They give us space, they give us people, the volunteer crew we have is amazing. Our facilitators are all trained in trauma informed, right? So that's super important. It's just been an incredible experience.
Well, and speaking of, you, the organization S.T.E.P.S, just received an amazing honor.
Yes.
Eastern
Yes, we
Connecticut
have.
Nonprofit of the Year.
Yes.
And that came with some other benefits, did it not?
We're very proud of that and very grateful. Again, you know, very, very grateful. The Eastern Connecticut Chamber of Commerce has named us the 2023 Nonprofit of the Year.
Yes.
And honestly, you know, the state itself, with the grants and the money that they've made available to our programs and nonprofit programs, you know, the state has been very important in supporting, you know, food scarcity, housing, and education. So that's, but for example, in 2021, we had an innovation grant from the Connecticut State Department of Education which allowed us to have this huge summer program that was really amazing because everything is so expensive,
Yes.
right? You know, busing, talk about busing children. I mean, that's a really expensive deal. But I myself push on that because I know that they won't be there otherwise. And so we need that money to be available for busing and for food. We make sure that we feed them at every session. You know what, and even in the after school sessions, the snacks disappear so quickly, you know, as they're taking them for their brother at home, you know, it's like you take as many as you need. We're happy to give them to you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes.
That's great.
And I had the privilege of doing a session during the summer
Yes, you did.
with S.T.E.P.S, and it was just nice to see. There were quite a few young girls there.
I think
There was
probably
quite
at
a
12
large,
or 14,
yeah,
right?
there was quite a decent large group, and it was great to see. And we did it at a local college, so even a local college provided space for you guys to, you know, create some. Really, it was the ball fields, I think, because that's where
Yes,
Jason was
that's
out
right,
doing
that's right.
drones,
Yep.
and then the kids had hands-on with the drones. Like, it was super cool and fun for them. And then you guys had the indoor space. I mean, it's just wonderful that, like you said, communities are reaching out and supporting, and also just providing space or whatever they can provide for you guys.
And the workshop you had, you balanced chakras, did
I
you
did,
not?
I
That's
did.
Right. That's right. So, you know, how many of these young women have experienced that, right? That
Yeah.
ability to know that their spirit is beyond what's happening around them.
And we did yoga for
Well,
chakras.
that's a
Yoga?
diverse offering for sure.
And you know what's really cool is just from that day, I remember one particular young lady, like when I started talking about one topic, like she looked up. Like I connected with her with that topic I was talking about, and then she started to get engaged. So it's the piece that you just never know what's going to resonate for someone, and to be able to provide so much diversity is so important, because that person then talked about how that was something within her household. Like someone in her house had also had a connection with something I was talking about with chakras. So it was so cool.
That is so cool, that
Yeah.
ripple effect.
Yes.
It's that ripple effect is we can touch one young woman's life, right?
That's right.
The ripple effect that happens from that, because I do believe that women are the backbone of society. And the stronger that women can be, and the stronger that women are, you know, the stronger their communities are. And we make sure as well, we teach to always give back. So we're always doing community service projects. At this last Young Women's Leadership Day, we created these huge, with the community supported us and donating all kinds of full-size shampoos and soap and all kinds of things. We ended up with 20 of these large grocery bags filled with hygiene products.
Nice.
And we donated them. We had a woman come from Madonna Place in Norwich, a shelter in Norwich, and she came and spoke to the girls and let them know how important this work is that they're doing, you know, to lift them, to let them know that they can make a difference.
Right, I love that. So I think now is a perfect time for us to see how S.T.E.P.S is making an impact.
Thank you.
So let's watch this video.
Toward empowered personal success. And over the last 13 years, we have mentored over 1,000 girls in grades 6 through 12 in southeastern Connecticut. S.T.E.P.'s vision is a world where every girl will have the opportunities and the support to reach her full potential.
I go to Three Rivers. I'm a graphic design student. I'm about to get my associates at the end of this upcoming spring semester, and then I'll be heading probably to either Massachusetts or New York City for a bachelor's degree in graphic design. I'm about to start my sophomore year in college. I go to Lycoming College in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and I'm studying neuroscience. I think my best experience at S.T.E.P.S was during the summer program. when I was able to meet with other girls from different schools, and it just really felt like empowering, like, you know, what STEPS is about, that all girls were able to come together and meet each other, interact with each other, and like uplift each other. The summer program that they did was definitely one of the best parts of the entire program, but specifically there was one community-based kind of field trips that we took, and there was a garden over in New London that we ended up going and kind of helping out with, and it was really nice to see in that community a lot of people kind of coming together. I think there's probably 13 or 14 of us going and just helping with that.
Women's Leadership Day was amazing. Like, I remember they had a speaker, I can't remember her name, but she was talking about just like intergenerational relationships and like really listening from people who are older from you, younger from you, regardless of age, like listening to their wisdom, to their experience, to really help you as you continue your path, whatever that may be for you.
I have been in STEPS for about 5 years. I started when I was in 8th grade. I was very shy, reserved, and now that I'm done with STEPS, I'm a little more outgoing, out of my shell more. No, I don't think I could have accomplished what I did without STEPS.
It was just such a helpful program that I always knew that I had like a support or somebody to go to. And even if it wasn't one of the girls, it was always like a STEPS leader, and they just grew with me. I kind of grew up with them. So it was a really life-changing program. From when I was in middle school and I literally couldn't function. I was really having a hard time, you know, being myself and figuring out who I was, and dealing with my traumas and my depression and anxiety. STEPS really like saved my life, honestly. I was very to myself and didn't want to talk to anybody, and now I'm so outgoing that I got a job based off of my vibe. And I'm very, very happy with myself now, and STEPS has really taught me how to be happy as a person and with myself and in my peace. And I really have STEPS to thank for being like here and alive and able to talk about these things.
STEPS is run by women who love women and who love other people. And, you know, no matter how small or big this organization gets, I think the common goal is always to show love to other women and support other women, because we live in such a society where, you know, it's so easy to criticize other women and be like, oh, look at her and all this. And you know, we kind of, in that sense, you're like reflecting your own insecurities. But I think that empowering other women can really help like generations to come to be like, you know what, we as women need to stick together, because we all go through a lot of the similar things, you know? And I feel like sisterhood is so important. Girls should feel like they have a sister, whether it's a biological sister or a friendly sister. Like, that is so important. And I think that STEPS helps you build that sisterhood. Like, I feel like I'm in a sisterhood with my other facilitators. I feel like, you know, we're in this together. And I feel like girls need that we're in this together mentality, because we are.
Oh my goodness, Wendy. Empowered women empower women. Love that. Mm-hmm. I need to know, we have to share with our viewers, how can people support STEPS, work with STEPS?
Become a part of STEPS.
Sure, we would welcome that, first of all. We welcome any volunteers or in any way, shape, or form. Please feel free to contact us. You can go on our website, which is www.stepsct.org, or feel free to call us. Our phone number is 860-941-7949.
Nice. Thank you so much for being with us today.
So much. Thank you both so much.
It was such a heartfelt show. Like, during the video, I was like tearing up. It was so beautiful. And again, you guys are doing just amazing work and changing lives.
And I
So
don't
thank
feel
you.
stressed anymore.
I don't either.
I feel uplifted, and I feel that every little thing that you can do can make an impact.
That's right.
Because that's the message I got. That doesn't have to be a lot of big things. It's the little things that you put together.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.